Probably no modern president has had more of an impact on the discourse of faith in public life than John F. Kennedy, and the reason for that is that during his campaign in 1960, he was under attack, vicious attacks, by high-profile Protestants threatening to cost him the election about the role that his Catholic faith would play as President of the United States. And so a couple of months before the election, he did what he had to do. He had to address this issue, and he did. He went to Houston and spoke to the Greater Houston Ministerial Association to dispel the suspicions about the role of the papacy and how it would play in his administration. Unfortunately, on that day, President Kennedy chose not to dispel fear. In fact, what he chose to do was expel faith. Let me quote from the beginning of President Kennedy's speech. Quote, "I believe in an America where the separation of church and state is absolute." End quote. The idea of strict or absolute separation of church and state is not and never was the American model. Now, it's a model used in countries like Turkey and France, but it found little support in America until it was introduced into the public discourse by Justice Hugo Black in the case of Everson versus the Board of Education in 1947. Not 1747, 1947. Black, by the way, was a Catholic-hating former member of the KKK, who ironically enough advocated this strict separation doctrine to keep public funds from Catholic schools. While the phrase separation of church and state doesn't appear in the Constitution, the concept of keeping the government apart from religion does. The first part of the First Amendment prohibits the federal government from establishing a state church, such as existed in England and in some of the states in 1791, and from discriminating for or against particular faiths. The founders were determined to ensure that the new national government had no jurisdiction over matters of religion, in large part to ensure that each American would be free to pursue the religion of their choice without state interference. Kennedy's misuse of the phrase constructed a high barrier that ultimately would keep religious convictions out of politics in a place where our founders had intended just the opposite. Far from reflecting hostility toward religion, our faith-filled founders knew that faith was not just an essential element, but the essence of civilization and the inspiration for our culture.